Welcome back to the After Credits Scene, guys, in our episode 4 forecast for Moon Knight. This episode is all about proving how wrong I was about episode 3. A whole lot of things that I thought were going to happen that I assumed should happen, and this show, again, like episode 2, has been keeping me on my toes and really surprising me. I guess that's a good thing, although for my predictions, it's making my predictions look really awful and probably keeping you from coming and watching these videos. So if you're here, thanks. Like and subscribe to our videos and then share this sucker all across the multiverse, and we really appreciate it. So thanks for watching. I said I'm wrong last episode, but I'm going to double down on it this time. We got to get some more backstory. Now, I'm going to amend my prediction here and say that some of that backstory may just come in some dialogue-heavy sections. With Layla at the beginning of episode 3, there were some hints about things that happened with her father in the desert and things that happened with her and Mark and those little things. And then there was some backstory with Mark and Layla on the boat before they got to Anton's house, talking about their relationship and different things like that. So maybe we get it like that, but I think we got to get some backstory, particularly about Khonshu. They've been teasing this idea of how did Mark become Khonshu's avatar? How did that happen? How does Arthur fit into that? There's a bigger story there, and there's some things that happened in the past, especially with Layla's dad, that I think we got to get to. And I think it's coming in some form, but I'll amend it to say maybe we get a lot heavier backstory, not just in flashbacks, but just conversationally. So I'm really doubling down on that because it's got to happen sooner rather than later. I don't think you could wait till episode 5 or 6 to do that. I think this episode coming up is going to be the one where you get some of that backstory. I was wrong about some stuff that happened last episode. I put on here in this section right here that there was going to be a lot of inner turmoil between Mark and Steven. And in that regard, I wasn't wrong. But I thought there would be a lot more back and forth, and they really spent the end of the episode. By the end of the episode, they kind of worked together. Where Mark says, okay, Steven, you're in, you do this. In that regard, I was absolutely right about Steven saving the day. I thought that was going to happen. Steven had some characteristics and some things that Mark didn't, and they were going to have to come to terms with each other. But the spot where I wasn't wrong here is that there was a blackout section, and neither Mark or Steven remember it. Jake Lockley is incoming. So I wasn't wrong here. I'm doubling down on this stuff. But Jake Lockley, who is that? There's another personality out there. If you've done any research on Moon Knight, you know that there's Mark, Jake, Steven, Khonshu, and then sometimes there's some other personas that may or may not be separate personas, but just aliases of Mark where he's acting like a different character, those kind of things. But it seems like in the comic books, they're kind of combining some things here. The comic books, Jake is a cab driver who knows a lot about the criminal underworld, but in the MCU here, Jake seems like the more violent personality. Mark doesn't really want to kill anybody. Steven definitely doesn't want to kill anybody. But when they blacked out, they come to, and Jake has stabbed somebody, assuming it's Jake. About 75% positive that he's going to show up in this episode. I think you need to, at some point in this series, you've got to steer away from the idea that they're constantly battling each other. They've got to come to terms with that a little bit. But I think you need to have an episode where they do that, where they understand each other, where they realize this is what we're going through, this is what we have to live with. And then episode maybe 5, episode 6, they're not necessarily dealing with that. It's just happening. There's blackouts and they're living with it. But there's got to be an episode where they kind of come face to face with each other, so to speak. And I think maybe this is the episode that happens. I told you guys in my last prediction video that I'm going to keep this one here because every little clue matters. The little things, the ticking of the clock whenever they were at Anton Mogart's place, it struck midnight while they were running away. That was an allusion to the Moon Knight villain Midnight Man, who Gaspar Ulliel was, he played in this show, but with him passing away, getting to see him in a costume or making that villainous turn may or may not happen, obviously, unless they recast him. So, but little things like that, keeping your eyes and ears peeled about things like that. The little scarab comment at the beginning between Layla and the woman making her passport was kind of hints at some different things with Layla, and they're giving you backstory in little snippets. So you really got to pay attention to those things because they're wanting to move the story forward, but they're trying to shroud it in some mystery. And so if you want to get those pieces that are really integral, I think, to character building, world building, you really got to keep your eyes and ears open for all these different little clues. The Ennead was another great place for that, so you could see who was there, who wasn't there, and listen to those conversations. I think they're really important. Didn't get a lot of backstory about Khonshu last episode, so I was kind of right there, but I think you've got episode 4 here where Mark and Layla decide they're going to have to go it alone. They can't get back to the court of the Ennead to be able to rescue Khonshu yet, although presumably Khonshu thinks that Mark knows how to do that. So we'll see if that happens or not. But I think they're going to have to decide to go it alone because the stakes are too high and they know where Amit's tomb is and they got to go do that. But maybe something happens and they need Khonshu. They got to go find him too. Maybe that's the fight in this episode that gets had. But I say that to say, I think because of this here, the story is going to take a little bit of a turn. This last episode gave me Indiana Jones vibes, a little bit of an Aladdin vibe as Arthur is walking through the desert with his scarab. I was really hoping, like, come on, cave with a lion's mouth, and then some kind of diamond in the rough moment would have just been hilarious. But I think this goes from more of an Indiana Jones type thing to a National Treasure type story. They're putting together these clues. There's something here that's going to have to switch. Either Arthur gets to where he's going and Mark and Layla have to stop it, or there's a rush to the tomb, or Mark and Layla and Steven know something that Arthur doesn't. There's going to be something here that happens. Last week I talked about how, Arthur's going to get a little weird. Maybe that happens here. There was a little bit of weirdness, but nothing we hadn't already seen before. I just think there's something coming, I'm guessing, in episode 5. But I think the story starts to take a turn here because they don't have Khonshu. So I'm not 100% certain on that. As you can see, I'm kind of tentative, but I think it's going to twist in episode 4 a little bit and pave the way for whatever comes down the pike with episodes 5 and then the finale. Because of all these things here, I think you got to have Frenchie. If Mark and Layla are going to go it alone, if there's some new avenues to this story, I think this French Revolution, my joke here, this guy Frenchie, this Duchamp guy, is going to make an appearance. How he does, why he didn't last episode, I think they moved the story forward in a certain direction, but they've kind of gotten to a dead end. And you either need some more backstory over here or you need this Frenchie guy to show up. Somebody needs to pop in to move this story forward. Now, maybe it's Jake. Maybe it's, some of these other things over here. Something's got to happen. The story's got to take a turn with either something we don't know yet or just, again, pushing it forward really quickly to some things we haven't even thought of yet. I didn't anticipate them going directly to the court of the Ennead and talking to the gods, but it made sense. Nothing they've done has really been like out of the ordinary. It's just, okay, they're going this direction with the story, and they're really taking you on a journey. Hasn't been that predictable. So in that regard, I've really enjoyed it. It's really kept me on my toes. But having said that, there's a lot of things that are left to get, and that means you got to pay attention to these clues because they're giving you this new story. And if you're not paying attention to these things, you can miss a lot of really, really juicy things. The story's still exciting if you're just watching it for entertainment value, but all those little details, I think, are the things that really make Marvel stories pop, and it keeps people coming back. And those are the things that moving forward, you're really going to appreciate whenever you watch this series, other series, that they really take a lot of care to make these worlds believable, as well as kind of make them fantastical and give you this experience, this entertainment value too. So a lot of things coming. I've really enjoyed the series so far. I'm kind of a curmudgeon when it comes to episode 3 of these Disney series. Most of them have kind of tanked a little bit. This episode 3 was one of my favorite ones, and I think episode 4 is just going to build on that. So I think this whole series has the makings of being the best Marvel series they've had, even above Loki. But I think these last 3 episodes are really going to tell the tale on how they wrap it up, because Loki really ended on a high note, and this one's got some room to grow here. So we'll see how that happens. Tell us what you guys think in the comments. Tell us if you have any other predictions. Tell us what you think about our predictions. Am I way off? Am I missing something? I'd love to involve you in the conversation, so let us know. Again, like and subscribe to the channel. Check out some of our other videos over here. We got a whole lot of content to sink your teeth into. And when the next one drops, guys, we'll see you right back here. Later.